What's up YouTube, Daryl here from Zephyr, and today I'm bringing you a test and combo video for the Mimighoul profile I showed you all the other day. So the idea behind this video is to show you what this deck can do on a basic level with randomized hands going first and second. It also gives you an introductory breakdown on what this deck can do and whether you feel that it is worth picking up. For me personally, it is the first wave of this brand new TCG exclusive, and I do think that it is a very, very fun deck. So if you can pick them up cheap enough, it'll be well worth it. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. Starting off our first test hand with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is actually a pretty good hand because, yes, of course, we've opened up Talents, we've opened up D-Baron, we've opened up Crow, but really what you're looking for in this entire hand is the fact you've opened up access to your Dragon, which you will naturally have 6 ways to get to Dragon, because you'll have free Dragon itself, plus the free of the field spell on top of that, and then other ways that you can dig for it. Having the Cerberus in hand, it gives us the ability that our 50-50 when we get the Magical Maker is not the end of the world. We'll get the right outcome no matter how we see fit. So you're going to start off by normal summoning the Dragon. Dragon's effect is going to trigger, and this is going to allow you to add a Mimighoul spell. And you can go directly for Dungeon if you want to, but the issue is you need to be able to get the special summon of the Fiend from the hand, or the Archfiend to be exact. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go for the Mimighoul Maker. Now at this point, what you want to do, personally, I'm going to give my opponent Cerberus, so that if I do resolve the Mimighoul Maker and I do special summon down the Archfiend, I can guarantee that that's going to flip up. Obviously, I don't need to do that, but the idea is that as long as I can get this to trigger, my Talents then becomes live and everything else in between. So we'll start off with the Magical Maker. This is then going to allow me to reveal 2 flips in the deck with different names. So the 2 that I'm going to want to go for is we will go for Archfiend, and we'll go for, I mean, we've already given them Cerberus, but we'll go for a Cerberus just in case, because at the end of the day, if I special summon down the Cerberus, I've got the rank 1 play that I need to make, and if I special summon down the Archfiend, my Archfiend will flip up that the first Cerberus, and then I can save the second Cerberus for my opponent's board. So we'll shuffle that up, we're going to put that into the graveyard, and then what we'll do is we're going to randomize these, so just to make sure that it's fair, because obviously it's your opponent randomly picks one. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They get the Archfiend, which is absolutely fine because now it's going to show us the worst case scenario. So we special summon down the Cerberus. We're going to overlay both our Dragon and our Cerberus. This will then get into one of the embodiments, whether it be crime or punishment. You're then using embodiments effect. You're going to detach a material, and the best thing about this is it's going to flip both of these up, triggering both their effects. So straight away, our opponent will discard a card, we'll draw a card. Nice. Then they'll banish the top 3 cards of their deck, and that will then give us control of whatever else they banish. So let's say we're going to get the Cerberus back, we're going to get the Archfiend back, and then we're going to get 1 additional bonus card that came off the top of our opponent's deck thanks to the Cerberus. So now this all comes back to our board. Our opponent is now currently on 4 cards, remember that, because they lost 1 off the back of the Archfiend. We now have the ability to activate Terraforming. This will give us access to the dungeon. We can activate Talents as well. We don't need to steal, we don't need to draw, so you can very easily look at your opponent's hand and take away anything that might be of some form of a threat. We'll then activate the Mimighoul Dungeon. This will then allow us to add we'll now be able to use your effect to add a Mimighoul monster. Now it's entirely up to you. Keeping in mind that we haven't summoned Archfiend from our hand using its own effect to our opponent's board, so we can very easily give this to our opponent. And the reason you're going to want to do that is if we have the Archfiend and then we're going to special the Archfiend to our opponent's board, remembering the last one came off of the Maker, this is now going to give us the ability that during our opponent's turn, we can actually use Embodiment of Crime to flip this up. We will draw an additional card and they will lose an additional card. So they'll now be playing, even if they haven't hand trapped us, they currently have 4 cards, they're going to draw it to 5, we're going to loop them back down to 4, we're going to activate Talents now anyway and put them down to 3. So they're going to have 3 cards to try and break our board, and as this currently stands, we've got the Mimighoul Dungeon, which while they control a face-down monster, that you can't while they control a face-down monster, monsters cannot be normal summoned, and nor can declare an attack with monsters that were special from the extra deck. So as long as we leave this, we can leave this on their board, and they'll be in a bit of a bad position. But if not, we can use the monster that they gave us, plus a Cerberus or the Archfiend, doesn't matter which one we go for. This will get us into a IP Masquerena. And now pretty much what we can do is we're happy to pass here. You can set the D-Barrier, you've got a Crow, so technically they've got to deal with another form of interruption. But the idea is that once you get into a position where you feel flipping this up will be beneficial for you, you'd activate the Embodiment of Crime, you'd flip this face up. This would then allow us to draw a card and our opponent would lose a card and it would come back to our board. We now have the ability to activate IP Masquerena and we can use all four. We could use all of them if we wanted to and go into a 4-negate Appaloosa, but to be honest, like I've already said, your opponent's down to 3 cards. That's before they have to deal with D-Barrow, that's before they have to deal with Crow, and that's before they have to deal with the Ash Blossom we've just newly drawn. So at the very least, you just go IP Masquerena and you'll go 1, 2, and let's probably get rid of this because then at least this can go into Zeus the next turn if we want it to. So we'll use all of this and go into a 3-negate Appaloosa. Those next 3 cards can now be technically be kind of met with an Appaloosa. Not to mention before we've even used any of these. And then as long as the dungeon stays on the board, it doesn't matter what we draw. Fine, Dart Ruler. We activate dungeon. Dungeon then searches us out any Mimighoul monster, and then we just go again. So you can go for your Mimighoul Master, you can normal summon down the Master, get the search out. You've then got the ability to link those off. You've just got so much more that you can kind of build your board towards after that point. It's really kind of cool. So, and that's what happens when the 50-50 didn't go our way, but we opened up 2 Mimighoul monsters instead. Now, of course, getting access to Dragon is the most important part because of how important that card is, but that's when you might want to consider other cards to help you get there as well. So that's it for going first, just to show you a very basic breakdown. Now what we'll do is we're going to shuffle up and we'll go second. Now obviously second's a little bit different because you want to be giving your opponent a dragon to flip it up and then nuke their board. But that can be a little bit more tricky. So we're going to see what we can do with this test hand. So shuffle up, cut up, and go second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, there's 100% that we're getting shifted. That's definitely going to weaken their board. 6. We probably used an Ash Blossom during our opponent's turn as well. And now we're still in a very good position. Unfortunately, the normal summon of the Archfiend isn't ideal. And like all we can really do here is we've shifted our opponent. Is I can give them an Archfiend, and then I can normal summon down the Kuriboh, but that's not really going to get me anywhere. Another option, just to kind of Zeus our opponent's board, is if they've got a monster in defense, is we would normal summon down the Archfiend. Then we'd use the effect of Astral Kuriboh to summon it down, overlay both of these, go into an embodiment of crime. Now obviously we don't have the other one, so it can still be destroyed by battle, but they would need to have a monster in defense. You would attack with crime, crime would then rank up into Downward, and then you'd rank up into a Zeus. So you've got a 2 board wipe Zeus, you've got another Ash Blossom, they've been under Shifter, and you Ash Blossom them as well. Now obviously this was hand trap.play, but this just kind of gave you a very simplified way of, as long as you have access to like what the Astral Kuriboh can do for you, you're in an okay position. Now obviously not ideal, which is why I'm going to show you a second go hand, but you can kind of see that even with the most baseline of hands, what we were missing there is more access to more Archfiends, and not Archfiends, sorry, Mimighouls. And that's the one thing that this deck is missing, but like I said, it's only had wave 1, which is 7 new cards, and one of the cards we don't use, which is the trap card. So hopefully in wave 2 we'll get more consistency cards, and then we'll also get access to maybe an extra deck monster would be kind of cool, just so they can have their own cards to flip stuff face up during their turn would be, you know, brilliant. Anyway, we'll do another test down guy in second, starting with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then 6. So that's a pretty good one. But we'll say we've crowed them and we've ashed them, so that's 2 hand traps they've had to face. We're going to obviously, you don't even need to worry about normal summoning your dragon, to be honest. You can use your dragon to bait out a hand trap, but honestly, you've got everything you kind of need here. So we're going to activate the Mimighoul dungeon. We'll use this to give us the Archfiend, and we're just going to keep this very, very simple. And what I mean by that is, I'm going to give my opponent the dragon, I'm going to normal summon down the Archfiend. Archfiend's going to flip the dragon up. This will then destroy all of my opponent's monsters apart from Mimighouls, and then give this back to me. So I'm now in a very good position. So obviously we use Dungeon to search out Archfiend, so that's currently where we're at. We can now activate the Mimighoul Maker. Now unfortunately you could only use each effect of the Mimighoul Archfiend once per turn, so no matter what I give my opponent, I can't flip it up. But we're still going to reveal an Archfiend, and we're going to reveal a Cerberus. We'll do the exact thing that we did last time, because now we've got the access for a rank 1, we can just build up even higher. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6. We give them Cerberus. We summon down Archfiend. Unfortunately, Archfiend's not going to flip this, but that's absolutely fine, because now what we're going to do is we're going to overlay both of these. We'll go into an embodiment. Embodiment's effect. Flip this face up. Trigger the effect. Comes to our board. We get a monster from our opponent. We've then got the ability, should we want to overlay both of these again. You can go into a second embodiment, which now means you've got a nice little attack lock, because your opponent must attack these where able, but then they set up a little bit of a soft lock, and then neither of these can be destroyed by battle or card effect. If you didn't want to do that, because you've got the Astral Kuriboh, what you can actually do is you can actually summon down the Astral Kuriboh, overlay 2 of these, give this the natural protection, it can't be destroyed by card effect, and then you can link both of these off, turning this into an IP Masquerena. Now, keep in mind they haven't, we haven't even attacked, but they've lost their entire board. But you still have the ability, even if you want to do it a different way as well. So, like, you still end with this, but then because neither of these can be destroyed by battle, you can attack with whatever you want. So let's probably keep this one in defense. We'll attack with the Embodiment of Crime, and then main phase 2, turn this into a Downard and a Zeus. But obviously you need to be a little bit careful, because if you're going to use Zeus, you'll lose your entire board as well. But it really is up to you. Like, you've still got other ways of doing this. If you are worried about your opponent is on Tenpai and you feel that they're going to crack back, then rather than making this, you would make it without the Astral Kuriboh, and you'll just use both of these and go into this, and then obviously you not this, sorry. Go into this, and then obviously this can't be destroyed by battle, but you're pretty much getting the same job done with your embodiments when you get both of them on the board anyway. And then that's pretty much it. So you set up a very nice defensive board. You've cleared off their front row. And that's pretty much all you need. Like, you've got the option to go into Beauregard. The only thing we're missing here is if we had opened up more of the Mimighouls, we could have given our opponent another Mimighoul, and then we had more things that we could flip during their turn. But basically what we've done is cleared their board off, and then we've set up a nice little defensive lock with stuff like IP Masquerenas, and basically just the 2 embodiments get the job done for you. If you steal one of your opponent's level 1s, even more of a great success. But the idea is, as long as the dungeon stays around, you're always going to get that ability to slow your opponent down even more, and then search yourself out a starter for the next turn, and then go again. So really kind of helpful and useful on that one. And hopefully this video has been quite informative for you, giving you a very basic breakdown, just some random test stands. If you want to see more test stands or just more Mimighoul content, then let me know in the comments down below. I'll be more than happy to do so. Obviously, we are leaning into North American WCQ, and then we are going to be moving into the European WCQ. So it's going to be a bit of a crazy time for everyone. And that's why I quite like this brand new TCG exclusive, because it's a little bit fun and it kind of breaks it up a little bit, should you get bored after the first week of Fiendsmith.dex. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe and, of course, happy dueling.